What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Inside the Lines. We have another full show. Whoa, words. College baseball, we have MLB, we have NBA, and we're going to get into some of these rookie quarterback projections that we have, looking at some of their lines, passing yards, passing touchdowns, etc. We have some value on some of our rookie friends here, which is very exciting. So stick around for that. Before we get into that, we got a lot to get through, including our recap yesterday, which doesn't include my 0-3 night, but that doesn't need to be here either. Overall, Jake basically turns out even with the 2-2, so love to see that. But we're due for a big NBA day between me and Steve.
Listen, we should get credit on Derek White covering in the first 7 minutes of the game. That's got to count for more.
Being so right on one of them should really account for the rest. Trey Murphy, I can't believe that's how we go out. Yeah. Me and Trey, after all we've been through this season, starting with Jake. I mean, Jake, you mentioned him in like November with some crazy trend, and I took that and I ran for months, and we had quite the season together, and then he really just did that to us. It was really sad.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was weird because the Gunnar Henderson hit the first inning, and then Luis Severino was a no-hitter, and Pete Alonso did nothing, and then Mookie Betts hit in like the second inning. So, like, my two hits were, like, the easiest, and the two wrongs were, like, just dreadful.
Yeah. Tough stuff.
That was the theme yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday was either going super well for you or so miserably terrible, and your players were getting injured and going 2 for 12 from deep combined. But you know what? We move on. We can't – I mean, that was my first losing day, okay? Give me a break. All right. I'm going to send you to the chat, Steven. I see some NBA questions already coming in. Jake, let's talk about some baseball here. We'll start in college here. We'll switch it up a bit. Going back to the Creighton Blue Jays, our worst enemy, under 14.5 with Nebraska. What are we looking at?
Creighton's hit for us, and they didn't hit for us. So, like, they're not on this list, so they're fine.
It's more just, like, emotional.
Basketball, they made it kind of far. Not like they were first round exit like BYU. They're not on the same level of BYU. We have, but I still think that Creighton, Nebraska. I think I played this under twice this season, and it's 1-1. And I still like the under again here. The weather's always a factor in Omaha because the wind, you never know where the wind's going to blow. So that makes me think that the wind's blowing out with lines at 14.5. But these teams aren't power hitting teams. They're both. They can hit, but they're not great hitting teams. They're pretty good pitching teams. Both teams are, I think, leading their conference. So it's a matchup of two teams who still have a lot to play for. At this point in the season, there's some teams that don't have much to play for and are just taking it right now and just, like, on to next season. But
I can't believe we're at that point already in the college baseball
season. It's some teams are still on the cusp, but then they're just waiting for a conference tournament season. But right now, these teams are still in it, and I think both teams are really good, and it should be a really exciting game. So I like the under here.
Okay, let's take a look at another total here, going to Gonzaga, Washington.
Yeah, this line's 10.5, like plus 100 on Hard Rock, but I like it at DK because you get the push insurance at 10. And we have 11.8 runs being scored in this game. Washington, probably has much better pitching advantage over Gonzaga, but Washington played 13 innings on Sunday, so they used some of their top relievers because they needed a win in that game against Arizona desperately. So considering that they used a lot of players that might have been used today, I think that the books aren't taking that into account enough. So I like the over here.
Okay, we have an over. We have an under. Let's move on to a run line here at plus money.
Yeah, these two teams played. Baylor and UT Arlington played this season. Baylor won at UT Arlington 3-1. Now they're playing at Baylor. And Baylor's been rough in the last couple of weeks, but they still are a lot better at home than they are on the road. UT Arlington has bad splits on the road. They're a lot better at home. So since it's at Baylor, Baylor already won 3-1. I like playing the run line at plus money here.
Okay. Back on the college baseball train for the week today. Hopefully we start out strong here. Let's go over to the big leagues. We got some props. We got some money lines. Let's start with the money line here. Let's start with the Rangers.
Yeah, this is scary because the smart money in this game is on the Nats, and the public money is on the Rangers. which is always scary to go with and fade the smart money. But I just think, the Nationals have won 4 in a row. Rangers have lost 3-0. I think the Rangers are just a better team. Yes, Mackenzie Gore has been really good, but the Rangers are just due to get out of this little slump that they're in right now. So I'm getting good value because of the splits with Mackenzie Gore and the Rangers sucking lately. I think you're getting good value. This normally, if this is the first game of the season, it'd be minus 200. But I like that minus 142. And I usually don't like fading the smart money, but I'm doing it right here.
I'd like to know, there have been a few times where the smart money was somewhere and the Sportsline model was on the other side. Maybe we can have a little record of that. Steven, if you're in there and listening, maybe we can dish that up at some point in the off season, in our summertime. All right, let's go over to another prop here with Tyler Anderson.
Yeah, Tyler Anderson, it seems like he's hit or miss. He either goes 7 innings or 4 innings. And the theme's been 7 innings, 4 innings, 7 innings, 4 innings, and he's due for 7 innings, unfortunately. But I'm fading the trend and going with under 17.5 outs reported. We have him projected for, I think, 16.5 outs reported, but you're getting even money on the under here. And the reason I like this is that Tyler Anderson walks a lot of hitters, and the Phillies against left-handed pitchers, they have the second highest walk rate, and they're hitting 273 against lefties, even though a lot of the guys like Schwarber and Bryce Harper are lefties. So that's what scared me a little, but they've been really good overall against lefties. Like Alec Boehm's been really good. Some of these guys lower in the lineup have been good against lefties. So I think they're going to take a lot of pitches. Hopefully Tyler Anderson's pitch count gets up pretty quickly, and they pull him after 5. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I like it. I like the sound of it. It sounds like good news for my Phillies, from what I'm hearing here. So I like to end with that. All right, 6 baseball plays for you guys. Again, so many questions in the chat. Love to see it. Keep them coming. Jake, I'll send you to the chat for some baseball. Steven, time to get into the association. This is the biggest comeback kids moment in a really long time between the two of us. This is going to be awesome. I got 4 plays. You got 3 plays. Actually, one of my plays is your play. So I guess we have 6 plays. Nonetheless, it is time.
2 units down.
We're so back.
To answer your question from a minute ago, I did used to track records against smart money and all these other things, and no one cared. I did it for like 4 years, my first 4 or 5 years here. And no one cared. So I stopped doing it. But there you go.
Well, I care.
Yeah, but you're probably like 12 when I was doing this, so I'll dig it up. I'm going to go with Miles McBride. The news, we already assumed that Bogdanovich would be out, and he's now out for the rest of the season. Model has over 14 points, rebounds, and assists for Miles McBride. The season trend is irrelevant because he averaged actually under 20 minutes. He went through a stretch where he was getting the 14-plus minutes, and I don't even look at that as an expected amount. I'm looking at this sweet spot. We're projecting 25 minutes, and this range of 19 to 29 minutes is pretty secure. And the over is 9-5 when he plays that range of minutes. He has a higher home average and a higher last month average. But again, he went through a stretch where he was getting tons of usage. So I love McBride over 12.5.
All right. I got 2 plays on my Philadelphia, or 1 play on the Sixers. Wow. Okay. I can do better than this. All right. Kyle Lowry over 7.5 points. I saw Big Cheesy talking about in the chat. We like this as well. The model has this as 8.2, as Steven mentioned here. He's gone over this in 3 of the 4 games, just barely went under it, a point away, essentially, from being 4-0 to this over in this series. I feel like regardless of the storyline of this game, he will be playing a lot of minutes considering whatever the hell's going on with the injuries with the Sixers. If they're playing well, it's because their supporting cast and the role players are playing well. And if they're not playing well and they're getting blown out, me and Steven have agreed that Lowry is probably going to be staying in this game, maybe playing loose, staying in for 4 quarters. Who knows if he comes back as a Sixer or back at all. He might be retiring. So I feel like we're getting minutes from him regardless. So this should really just be able to happen. He's been getting to the line a lot too. So I like the odds of that. The other play, Hedging Happiness, Steven Chenzo over 3.5 rebounds here. This was really good plus money, like plus 115, plus 120 earlier today. Still around even money. It seems like there's some steam on it. I think we just slightly have him projected over here in the model, I believe. 4.3. All right. Let's go. But other than that, 10-2 to this over in his last 12 games. 2 of them were against Philly, I will say. However, I just think this is a good buy low spot going back home. I like this for him. So we're going DiVincenzo again. He's been good to me. And then I see some questions in the chat. We'll take a look at Brunson here. I've seen a lot of the public, maybe not the public, a lot of our experts too, fading Brunson the spot. It's getting a little too mainstream for me. I'm getting a little worried about it.
Yeah, we're not going to go under, even though we technically have under at 33 points, under 33.5, that's obviously not a good value. I mean, he's just taking so many shots. So what's the likelihood of him not shooting 28 plus times? It seems pretty low. And so, he doesn't have to be remotely on fire to get up tons of shots. So I'd be scared to bet against Brunson, given the volume of attempts. In terms of Josh Hart rebounds, and he's such a monster, and and Embiid definitely can't rebound well right now. He doesn't have the mobility to do it, and he's averaging like 9 rebounds a game. So I don't trust the model with an 11 rebound projection from what I see. Josh Hart has just been playing too manly.
Yeah, so manly he's playing. Looks like Jake is. It looks like Jake is also on DiVincenzo here, going for the alt line, 5+ rebounds. That makes me feel better when I have Jake on my side. All right. I think that's all the questions.
I saw a question about OG Anunoby's dunks. I don't have, maybe Jake can look up this, or Derek, what percentage of his 2-point shots are dunks. But in our model, we are projecting just under 6 made and just over 2. So we got 4.7 2-point makes. So again, I don't know what his dunk percentage is, but whatever that is, multiply it by, 4.7, and there you got your number.
Okay, good to know. All right, let's move on here. We got another game to get through. We got a lot to get through, actually. I forgot. We got some NFL stuff coming along. Yeah. Indiana, Milwaukee. This is – I have a play in this game, but you do yours first.
Don't do a lot of the main markets on this show. We usually reserve those for our Sportsline subscription product, which is nearly up 28 units for the season on our A-rated picks, and one of them is going to be Indiana, Milwaukee over 215. The model's at 228, which is even at 228 is well under what the last 3 games have been, 233, 239, 239, way under what Indiana totals on the road, 242, and way under Milwaukee's 236 at home. Indiana's been really thriving with playing a fast pace. Now, one of these games was an overtime game, but Indiana's been playing with a lot of pace. They have a lot of youth and depth. I think that Milwaukee, especially with their injuries and they're over in their age, Indiana knows that they can't keep up with Indiana with them if they play at a fast pace. But Milwaukee knows that if they're going to win, they have a lot of high percentage 3-point shooters. Even though Dame's not there, Dame is actually one of the lower 3-point percentage shooters on the team. And so you guys got like Middleton is 38%, Portis is just under 41, Lopez 37, Beasley 41, Beverly at 36. So I like a lot of threes, and there's a chance that Milwaukee misses a ton, but I like my chances that Indiana will score over their 110, 109.5 team total, and Milwaukee will score over their 105, 106 team total.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I see some questions in the chat. We're going to talk about Bobby Portis. I have a play on him. Before I get to that, though, his point line set at 20.5. It feels like he's like their only hope here to me.
Yeah, I mean, he got booted early. We have him at 21.7, so I think that sounds good, especially if it's not too expensive, if it's not like minus 120. But if it's like minus 110 or less, then I like that a lot. Middleton over rebounds and assists, we are projecting a lot, 14.5, assuming he can stay healthy. He was giving it his all and hitting crazy clutch shots and grinding it out, but he has been playing a ton of minutes, and he was injured. He's playing hurt.
Well, I got a play here myself. Going back to Bobby Portis here. Listen, this is not a dig at Bobby Portis Jr. I think he can have an awesome game tonight. I think he can perform well offensively. I think he'd have an awesome game. I do, however, believe he will not hit 13 rebounds. That is an insane line for someone like him. He went over this. He had 18 boards in the one game in the series. I will give that to him. However, he's only gone over 12.5 twice in his last 15 games. And me and Steven were trying to find reasons to justify this in any way we could. Looking at games when Giannis wasn't playing, he was still 2-14 to this over?
Yeah, I mean, his rebounds go up a lot, but they go from 7 to 10.
Yeah,
look,
have doubled, have 10, have 11, have 12. 13 feels like so many. Even games when he's playing high production minutes, which I guess is pretty correlated to Giannis here, but 30 plus minutes still not anywhere near hitting this 50% of the time. So
I also like that his offensive rebounds aren't projected to be high because he's going to play a big role offensively, and a lot of his shots come from 3-point range. It's hard to get offensive rebounds when you're 24 feet away from the basket.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of hard times justifying any version of the story where he gets 13 rebounds. Now, if he does, I mean, hats off to him. I'll take that. I'll eat that. That's impressive stuff. But I'm not big on the unders. But this was a little too intriguing to me.
He also has to get back in transition defense. The guys like Toppin and with them playing and Siakam playing at a fast pace. So I envision a lot of 3-point shots. Get back on defense.
Yeah,
kind of hurts the rebounding numbers.
Listen, a great game ahead potentially. Fine, 10 rebounds, 25 points, great game. I just think 13 rebounds is not where their priority is going to be for him here. So that's my play for this game. We can move on here. Was that our last game?
No, we got Orlando, Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
And I think Derek was telling me that Jarrett Allen is hurt. But we'll see if he plays. Halliburton over 28.5 points and assists real quick. 28.5. We are projecting 31. So we like the over. I like how Halliburton finally kind of broke out of his shooting slump, and he was aggressively looking for his transition 3. Mm-hmm. So in this one, Orlando, Cleveland, it's been a tale of, the home court advantage, right? I'm going to go actually with Donovan Mitchell over in rebounds and assists. The points value wasn't there for me to go with PRA. He's got a strong home average, 11.3, 19-9 over this season. There's a buy low value on his last month. I was encouraged by the fact that he had 6 and 7 assists in those 2 games in Orlando, and the team could barely score. They scored 89 points, and so and he didn't play much in the second end of the game 4 when they're getting blown out. So when you can have 6 and 7 assists again, when your team's not scoring, that means you're looking to pass. Could be because he's still dealing with his own injury and isn't feeling as aggressive or ability to get around defenders and attack the hole. Cleveland got dominated on the boards at Orlando, but they dominated Orlando in game 1 and 2. They probably won't dominate if Jarrett Allen's impacted, but that could require more rebounding from everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Derek put in the chat. Allen now questionable with a rib contusion. So this could be good for us. This could be good for the prop. I'm also tailing this. That's part of one of my Twitter picks, making it an official pick as well. I like it a lot.
But that's also why I'm not high on the model value on Cleveland to cover as I was if Jarrett Allen was healthy.
Okay. But we still like our boy Donovan Mitchell. That's all that matters. Yes. All right. Let's pivot here. Any more NBA questions we can still answer in the chat. I know we were talking about Jonathan Isaac. Someone asked about his points. Mm-hmm. Sorry to go back to the NBA.
Yeah, no, I like Isaac. I was almost played that earlier. Him and Wendell Carter have been going back and forth, kind of dividing the minutes there. And for a while, Isaac was starting, then Carter came back in the starting lineup. We actually have value on their PRA for both of them. What's the line for Isaac? 1.5 blocks. Oh,
his points lines
7. Yeah. We're projecting 8 for Isaac. I like the fact that even he played only 20 minutes, he had 14 his last game. Obviously, he's really red hot from 3, but he's shooting the 3 ball really well, which is not what I thought Jonathan Isaac would do when he came out of college. So maybe all those injuries, all those games he missed through injury, he was just practicing his 3-point shot because he's been lights out recently.
Mm-hmm. All right. Like that there. All right, let's move. Jake, answering his own questions in the chat. Why don't you come back to the screen, Jake? It seems like you're getting a little too distracted out there in the wilderness.
Well, I was Well, when Steven opened up the log, I saw that he was projected 1.53, and he's hit that in 3 of his last 4 games. So I was 1.53 at plus 140. It's pretty good value. It's worth the take. I know Derek said that Jared Allen was going. They still played 20 minutes last game, so if he hits 20 minutes and he's still got the 2 blocks in 20 minutes, I think it's if you think there's a 50% chance he hits it, which I think that's probably where we would set that at. Plus 140 is pretty good value there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, maybe a live bet there from Jake. He likes to do that. We'll see. All right, let's move on to our rookies here. We're going to take a look at a few. We basically have ran the whole seasons here with the new rosters after the draft. We're going to take a look at Caleb Williams, who we have some massive value on. Now, I will say this is about his ceiling that we're looking at here. Over 23.5 passing touchdowns. The model has him projected for 29.5. So lots of value here at just around even money. I mean, you might not think he's going to have 30 passing touchdowns, but do you still feel confident he's getting over this 23.5?
Yeah. Hey, the last time Keenan Allen played with a rookie starting quarterback, that rookie, Justin Herbert, broke the record for rookie touchdown passes. I love the fact that with Rome Odunze added to DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and even the backup tight end, Gerald Everett, all these players are high touchdown producers. And if they stay healthy, at least 3 out of the 4, then you have a situation where teams can't double anybody. I also love the fact that Chicago's running backs, DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, they're not exactly goal line beasts. This is not like a Baltimore Ravens situation. So Caleb's really good, scrambling for touchdowns on the goal line as well. So that obviously doesn't help his passing touchdown stat. But I can see in short goal-to-go situations, they'll be in passing formations, and Caleb will have the ability to scramble or pass for it. And then overall, if you look at it, everyone's very high on Chicago's offense. The team in general, the defense was looking great the second half of last season, but they have an 8.5 win total with juice on the over. So they're supposed to be a better than average team. If they have a slightly better than average offense, that's a 23 point per game offense. That's basically 2.5 touchdowns per game. They don't have the running backs that you would expect to have more than 1 touchdown a game. So you just need 1.5 touchdowns, passing touchdowns per game is what Vegas is expecting based on their win total. And that is, if you don't want to be a rocket scientist, is 25. So as long as Caleb stays healthy, I really like over 23.5.
All right. I like it. So he has the receiving core for this, not a huge goal line running back type of team situation.
Not only are those running backs not goal line running backs, but all 3 of those are above average receiving running backs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps on this too. So DeAndre Swift is a really good receiver on the backfield. So maybe he breaks a couple. Roschon Johnson was drafted higher in the 4th round because he is an above average receiving back. Right. So I really like this play, especially Ryan Poles, the GM of the Bears, realized that they set up Justin Fields to fail. So they built everything around Caleb Williams, so he has no excuses at the start of his career. And I really like this.
Yeah, I like this too. I have to imagine this is going to be.
Sorry. I was going to say Jake was my Justin Fields. I am the Ryan Poles. I've set him up to fail.
Yeah.
But he's overcome. Unlike Justin Fields, he's overcome.
Yeah. Well, we cannot forget that Stephen O called himself Jalen Milroe about 6 hours ago today. So
I think I called Jalen Milroe Stephen O.
You know what? You did. I don't know if that's better or worse, but that is actually what happened. We'll say, have to imagine this minus 105 just based off any casual fan, any public take that people will start to put some money on this over. So this might be, I don't know. I feel like this might be the best we're going to get, or are we so far out that we'll see it go up and down?
I think it'll go up. It's because as long as he checks every box early on, even rookie camp, if they release footage of him, just like when Tyreek Hill first went to Miami and they're showing, there are no one in pads, obviously, and they're chucking the downfield. It just got everyone excited.
People just eat it up. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about someone we're really high on, have been since the beginning of time here, Jaden Daniels. His passing touchdown line set at 19.5, and we have him soaring over this at 27.5 for a lot of reasons, being playing from behind, not being as awesome as a team, and some false comparisons to Lamar Jackson here. Seems like Vegas was trying to set the line around where they would for like a Lamar light. Yeah,
so it's like it's a perfect comp for actual abilities, but completely wrong comp for situation and personnel. So Lamar had 24 passing touchdowns last year, but that's largely because the Ravens were playing from ahead in every game. They only lost games that they were up, for most of the game. He sat week 17 or week 18, and he sat versus a full half versus Detroit and Seattle. So Lamar basically sat for 2.5 games and was playing from ahead in most of those games. So if Lamar, and then on top of that, the Ravens were incredibly potent rushing touchdowns, which is why Gus Edwards, despite having a career low in rushing yards per game, had 13 rushing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Washington is not in a situation where they're going to be playing ahead. Jane Daniels presumably won't be sitting week 18 because they've locked up the number 1 seed. They don't have the running backs that Lamar's played with that are goal line backs, sort of like Caleb in Chicago. So, and then the running back they did add, Austin Eckler, when he's playing well, he's doing great as a receiver. He's had 8 receiving touchdowns twice in his career. Terry McLaurin's a beast, but Jahan Dotson, while he's been disappointing as a yardage and his number of receptions and yards have been disappointing. His touchdown production has been very impressive. He only accounts for 12% of his team's receptions, but nearly 20% of the team's receiving touchdowns. So that's his one strength, is be able to find the end zone. So and then they add, Ben Sinnott, the tight end, who Jake was really high on and pinpointed as a great value pick as the second tight end off the board. People are really excited about him. Cliff Kingsbury at OC should be not that. I don't want to denigrate who they had last year at OC, but Kingsbury combined with a new head coach and new system should be an upgrade. And remember, Sam Howell had 21 passing touchdowns last year. So I see Jaden Daniels and an improved roster and improved coaching staff getting over what Sam Howell did. And that'll just if
that alone. If anything else.
Yeah, that's that. Unless so 19.5. And there's no competition for the starting quarterback day one.
Mm-hmm. All right. I like it. Simple enough to me. We got one more here. We're going to take one more over for this quarterback class. Looking at Bo Nix, line's a little lower here at 17.5 passing touchdowns. Not as dramatic, but we still have a lot of value here going to 21.5 the model has here. We were talking about it earlier. If Sean Payton can do one thing, it's at least score.
Yeah, through the air. So I like this because we actually have undervalue on his passing yardage. So we have only 2,700 passing yards. The line's 2,950. So us and Vegas are probably assuming that Jarrett Stidham still has a decent chance of seeing the field at times, either to start the season or maybe, if Nix struggles. So Russell Wilson, Sean Payton hated Russell Wilson. We know it, despite any public statements, because Russell Wilson was kind of gun shy. He avoided interceptions, took a lot of sacks, and he wouldn't let it rip. I think that, but Russell had 26 passing touchdowns despite that. So even if you think that Nix is, as a rookie, isn't going to be nearly as productive, that you've got to have to see a huge drop off from 26 passing touchdowns in 15 games because he got benched. To go from 26 down to 17. Mm-hmm. So I love that we can project 21.5 passing touchdowns. We can project a much lower touchdown rate and still be well over 17.5.
My theory is that Sean Payton saw that Russell Wilson was sacked 100 times over the last 2 years. And he looked at the college board and said, what quarterback was sacked the least amount? And he went with it. His Bo Nix was sacked 4 times all last year, which comes to 0.36 a game. And so that's my theory, is that he scrambles well, he avoids sacks. He was really good his numbers were good outside the pocket, even though I think the advanced analytics don't say he's worth number 12 overall pick, but maybe just avoiding sacks, unlike Russell Wilson, is worth that to Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton had tunnel vision here, trying to balance out. He's scarred from Russell. But you know what? Fine. I hope the best for Bo Nix, even though I've kind of given him a hard time for 90%.
I know we're running out of time. If there's one reason, I just want to explain the whole Jalen Milroe comment. I wasn't praising myself. I was saying Milroe is too negatively dinged for missing layups but because he's, it seems like he can complete a deep ball at the same rate as a short little, out route. And I said, he's like me. I can shoot from 19 feet just as effectively as I could from a driving layup. They're both going to go at the same rate. And so that was the gentleman Milroe. That and we're both jacked.
Yeah, you forgot that part. Yep. All right. Just about checks out. On that note, we are going to get out of here. We got MLB, we got college, we got NBA. It's time to get back to business here in the association. I'm feeling good about this slate, feeling good about these picks. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. Tomorrow we'll go over basically every other offensive player, rookies, tight ends, rookie wide receivers, going through some of their props, some early value there. So stay tuned for that. Good luck with your bets tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow.